Hi Rashmi, can you come back? We will start, I think it's 10:01 and we'll start within 2 minutes.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, so we will start now. People have started joining and so hello everyone. Good morning from India. I am Shikha Singh, volunteering as Vice President Professional Development at PMI Mumbai chapter. I hold a BE in Production Engineering from Mumbai University, Green Belt in Lean Six Sigma and a PMP certified from PMI. Professionally, I'm working at LRQA Inspection Services India LLP at Mumbai and having over 18 plus years of experience in operations of inspection services and right now handling global projects. So I welcome everyone for today's PM Forum session. PM forums are a format used by Project Management Institute chapters for discussion and networking among project professionals. PM forums can be a valuable way to stay up to date on industry trends, learn new techniques, and build relationships with other project managers. So today's topic is a role of digital transformation and AI in project management. And today's speaker to present this topic is Ms. Rashmi Likhite, Director of Strategic Solutions and Customer Success at Celoxis, a leading project portfolio management platform. With over a decade of experience helping organizations transform the way they plan, execute, and optimize projects, she works closely with teams across industries to align tools with strategy, drive adoption, and deliver technology with practical sorry and deliver measurable outcomes. She is passionate about building scalable solutions that blend technology with practical project leadership, and she is looking forward to exchanging ideas at this PM forum event. Her LinkedIn profile will be shared in chat box, so please connect with her. Please post questions in the chat box and same will be answered at the end of the session by the speaker. So I request Rashmi to start her session, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shikha, for the good introduction. I will start sharing my screen first, and then I'll give a quick introduction again. I hope
Yes.
you can see my screen now.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you once again. So let me start by introducing myself. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rashmi. Shikha has already introduced me. So I work with Celoxis as the Director of Strategic Solutions and Customer Success team, basically. In my role, I work closely with organizations across the industries, banks, manufacturers, airports, even hospitals, helping them modernize how they manage projects and portfolios. Over the years, I've seen transformation projects, they've succeeded brilliantly. But I've also seen that a lot of organizations struggle doing that. And the myths and the conceptions that we have with digital transformation is all causing that. And the difference between the two is never just the technology. what excites me and brings me here today with all of you is how leadership, culture, and AI together can redefine project success. So yeah, AI has been the buzzword these days. Everyone, everywhere we see it's AI these days. So, I'll be taking you through this journey not only to talk about tools, but to reimagine what project management can look like in the digital age. So, I want to start with a very simple thought that, when was the last time you kind of worked on a project or went exactly as you had planned? It doesn't happen often as you had planned. And that is why we are here today to discuss how digital transformation, AI aren't just new buzzwords, they are changing the every DNA of project management. In this session, we'll explore how, not by just looking at tools, but by understanding how leadership, culture, and AI together can redefine this success. What will we cover? This is what we are headed towards, the reality of transformation and why project fail. So basically the myths we'll cover, we'll understand what companies, organizations think when they think about digital transformation. We'll then look at the digital maturity journey. It's not only a tool, it is people, processes, and projects together that basically head towards your organization, driving towards digital maturity. We'll then look at the
Rashmi, just to interfere, sorry, your video is not coming along. So,
I actually switched it off because I was sharing my screen. I didn't want the voice to with this. Do you want me to turn that on?
yes, yes, sure, obviously.
Okay, no problem at all. So we'll look at, I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
Okay. We'll then look at, how AI as a, game changer, right from the meetings that you take daily to the predictive alerts that you can get through AI, how that can be a game changer. We'll look at case studies, how the impact of a tool has on those, those tools have on the digital organization and how you can drive success with that. We'll look at the common pitfalls, basically how things like resources, how the leadership buy-in is important for you to kind of scale the transformation and take this digital journey together with AI. And we'll see at the end how, AI enabled PMOs can redefine what project success means. Moving on, let's start with a thought here. All of you have been, working, juggling through multiple projects. So most of the times you'll hear from your colleagues, from your peers that, 70% of the project fails. Is it because of tools? Is it because of readiness? What are the common pitfalls? So despite several courses, several basically courses or different kind of activities that you have been performing, the experiences resources are being are sharing, there's an uncomfortable truth that basically 70% of the projects fail. Is this really because we are not ready for the digital transformation? Is it the internal resistance that we are facing? These are the questions that we need to ponder upon. So technology alone cannot solve what a team together, people and processes together can do. We've seen a lot of time that, organizations start on a digital transformation journey. They understand or they think that it is going to be basically a tool. They put in a tool, they put in resources on the tool, and they expect the tool to start working. And that's what they think is going to be a digital transformation. But is it really that? So let's move on and see. Another case to ponder upon. So, how many hours did you spend last time in a particular month to understand or present the status of your projects to your leadership team? In a study, what we've seen is basically on an average, 10 to 15 hours are spent by team members who will collect all the information and share it across with the project managers or the senior members. Project managers, on an average, will spend about 15 to 20 hours which they will spend preparing reports, Excel sheets, so that all of this data goes to the management so that they can take those data driven decisions. Now imagine your program managers, your CXOs or C-level executive need information from multiple different project managers or different portfolios. So they need to look at all of that information to be able to take those data driven decisions. And by the time that you are preparing all of that, your information is already old. So whatever data that you are collecting basically at that point might not be relevant also. So then how is collecting all of this information using spreadsheets or basically doing that manually is going to be of help for you? This time could actually be spent doing a lot of real-time activities that contribute towards the growth of your organization. And believe me, most of the organization these days are still spending a lot of time getting their reports done in an Excel sheet. Does that mean getting into a tool helps you solve that? No, it is finally people and the work that you would organize together, processes that you will set up, that drives towards the digital transformation. So these are the real stats. This is the real condition that you would typically see in any organization. In the last 14 years that I have been working with, I have seen organizations and as big as an organization with 10,000 plus users spending hours creating those reports. So then what are these common myths about digital transformation? Like I said, most organization thinks buy the tool, implement that in the organization, train a few people, and we are digitally transformed. Another buzzword these days is SaaS. So move all your processes to cloud, and we are modern, we are agile, we can get all the information as you need. By getting a tool, by putting that on cloud or your information on the cloud, you think all of these features are going to be what will give you the real-time information. And with all of this in place, 84% of the time, a Gartner study reveals that the transformations don't sustain. Why? Because it lacks the leadership, voluntary pushing resources to do that. It lacks not understanding what really is failing. It also lacks the drive to basically set up processes and do this repeatedly over and over. It is not a one-day journey. It is a continuous process that organization has to go through to say they are digitally transformed. And it's across the globe these days with different cultures, with different resources, work from home that we are all used to now, where all of this needs to be considered before you say that you are on a digital journey now. So it isn't a one-day process. It is a linear process that happens by, bringing in the tool, putting your resources into place, understanding what their problems are day on day to help them succeed with their digital transformation journey. So again, what information that you would typically see with all the myths, with all the pitfalls that have been dealt with the digital transformation journey are 58% of the time it is resistant to change. Year on year, you're typically used to doing that on a spreadsheet. You're used to kind of, collecting information through emails. So all of that is a set process. We as humans resist change. We don't want to be kind of, take on new processes, understand what are really the problems that's stopping us from moving ahead. While we do want to say we want to, kind of digitally transform, we don't want to change the process. The next is the clear, executive sponsorship. In my experience with working with giants, what I've already seen, and it is what we kind of tell the leadership team, is that we need support from you. While resources will kind of do the activities they have been told, either with the tool, if the leadership kind of believes that this tool, this particular processes that we are setting up now are eventually going to help, the organization will transform successfully. What this means is that the leadership team needs to basically have the biggest buy-in. Now, there are resources who are working across different departments, across different processes that have been set up. So it's very critical to understand the key resources who are going to be part of this digital transformation. It's not one resource, it is not a bunch of resources, but these are resources picked from different departments whose help you would need to be on the digital transformation journey to say that we are on the path towards success. So most of the time, the understanding of what the real workload of your resources are to say we will then have the resources to be able to pick up other work is what is very important. If you don't have that understanding, 42% of the time, if you see the insufficient resources allocation is another biggest worry that stops you from moving on to your journey. And of course, when it comes to people, it is also a collaboration. The information being passed on, who talks to which team, How is that information collected, and doing your reporting is also important. It's not going to be one person whose responsibility it is to be able to drive through the entire organization on the journey. So, like I keep saying, it's not only the tool, it is the gap that every organization needs to understand on what is the real success, or what is the real path that is going to take them towards the success. So, it is both the implementation and the approach that you decide when you are on this path. So, then now we've looked at the typical myth when it concerns the tools, the resources, and the processes. So then what is the real transformation, and what does it mean to be digitally transformed? So it's not about software, it's not about productivity, it is about leadership, culture, and mindset. Leadership, you need the leadership buy-in. If they believe that, using tools, putting in processes, having a set way of doing things, naturally your team, your resources are going to believe in you. It is the culture, it is how the entire team thinks about when they are associated with an organization. It's how you would feel when you are kind of working with your organization. It's how you would feel when you log into your work on a Monday morning. If you feel Monday morning is the most hectic time of the day, you're not on the correct path of digital transformation. So with all of this, all of these points put together, the two transformation is a fundamental shift from how you think to where you are trying to move. So then an organization is ready to make data-driven decisions, allocate resources in a correct way, and have the correct visibility to drive your organization towards the success with your team with you. So the three biggest shifts in AI project management. Project management tools have been in the market since since forever. It started with some tools which were on premise, which could be installed on your laptops and your machines, to the SaaS product these days, where you have hundreds of tools in the market helping you with managing your projects. So with so many tools in the market, how do you know which would be the correct one for your organization? So that's the project management part of it. Then comes the AI. How does AI fit into project management? So the three biggest shifts that happen once AI has been introduced in the project management help you to basically take data-driven decisions, get visibility at a single click and not spend hours doing that or getting the real-time insights, and proactive leadership. So it's not firefighting that you're doing every day with your team to get the reports, but it's a good collaboration that you are having with your team members, so that you move from day-to-day meetings that you're doing towards the strategic objective that you're trying to achieve. Initially, you would see that, broadly, when an organization is kind of on their path to digital transformation, they are using a certain tool. Typically, we classify them into saying someone who is, very new to the project management domain, someone who is spreadsheet, which means they are a bit above than emails and personal talks. And the third set of people are who are kind of using some tools, but this is more to do with task management or a bit improvement than your spreadsheets. So with all of this, what happens is teams will spend hours into meetings, getting all of that information. And one story I'd like to mention over here is one of a big manufacturing organization in India are spending hours on their reports that are submitted to their managing director. And the managing director, when he was talking to me and talking about how a tool can help them, so he was telling me that when I get this report every Monday morning, it's a spreadsheet sent by different project managers. I myself copy paste that in a single spreadsheet. And when I do that, I have shades of gray and I have shades of green to be able to show which are the projects which are in not active and have been put on hold, some which are green, but I don't know whether a light green means a project is bit on track, when a darker green means the project is completely on track. So that's the kind of reporting that I get every day. So imagine sitting in those meetings, spending hours again to understand really what the status is. And then your project manager are frustrated because they've already spent 20 hours creating that project for you, and they are not able to relate and tell you why is the project I'm submitting to my director not worth his time. So those are endless meetings that are happening. With a tool in place, with a proper process in place, imagine having a dashboard that you can click login at any point in time to be able to see the real time information. Now, that's what a traditional project management will do. How does AI come into picture? Imagine asking someone a question and getting the instant answer saying, these are the project that needs your attention. How will all of this help? This becomes a predictive analysis, predictive alerts that you get into well in advance so that you can take proactive actions. So you can see things getting flagged as at risk well in advance so that you can kind of take the necessary steps to see if things can be gotten back into track. Similarly, proactive leadership. So your leadership team already comes with a lot of experience. They understand how projects, typical pitfalls of the project, where can things get delayed. So with the trend being visible to you, you already know what are the next steps, the predictive steps that you can take so that you ensure that your organization is moving towards the strategic objective that you have set up. So these shifts are necessary. These are not just the efficiency gain that that your organization or the team is looking into. It is how the teams are going to be performing as we move into the AI era. So let me jump into a tool and quickly show you how all of this can be managed. I'll just quickly switch my screen. I hope all of you are now able to see a manager dashboard in front of your screen. So now imagine logging into a tool on a Monday morning where you know you haven't spent a Sunday evenings preparing those reports for your executive. You just log into the system and at any point you're guaranteed that you will see real-time information, even which means your resources might have kind of updated the progress on a Saturday or a Sunday. You can be assured that your dashboard is showing you the real-time data. So that's your dashboard. You will be able to see a few metrics showing you the margin, revenue, and other details, which are, kind of something that you want to see. You can see the list of the project with a quick visual indicator so that you know exactly what to focus on. So you know that this particular project is at risk. It is one of the important clients that you're working with, which means you need to highlight that well in advance. Similarly, you can have nice looking charts. They not only look nice, you can actually drill down and pinpoint to problems where you can then request an update that sends out notifications to the resources who are working on it. So you log on to a Monday morning, see what needs your attention, you request updates, and you go for a cup of coffee. That's how easy and you know, no stress you would have on a Monday morning when you report all of this progress to your executive. A trend line that shows you how your project has been progressing in terms of the budget consumption so that you understand week on week or month on month how that is looking. So if things are going to be in terms of the cost overrun, those are flagged well in advance. So that's a single dashboard. And the best part being about dashboards are they could be entirely customizable. So right from the layout of the report to the actual columns that you might need are something you can set up for yourself. Not only that, if there are widgets that you do not need, you can remove them and add what you would typically want to see once you log into the system. So imagine having a dashboard like this where you can have an understanding of what is keeping your users busy across the projects or across different activities. So that's the kind of insights that you would get looking at these dashboards. Now, these are, any tool basically that will give you these real-time insights. But there are hundreds of tools in the market. So how do you understand which of the tool is the most beneficial for your organization? It's not always a pretty looking tool that, kind of shows you the charts, but doesn't really drill down. It could be stats that you can see, but it takes hours for you to kind of, put in the data, which means you have to have plugins, you put in manual efforts into doing that. Is that the right tool for you? That's something that you need to sit down in your meetings when you are on the digital transformation journey. Put down the questions that your resources are really struggling with. So that's when leadership comes into picture. You have to have these meetings with your key resources to understand what do they struggle day to day with the kind of project management they do so that they can get you the real time insights. So if they tell you that all of this is in Excel and it's manual effort, a tool that does basic task management is not going to be helpful. because then they will have to still manually export that information, get that to you over an Excel sheet again. If they tell you basically that, it's difficult for me to put in a task, understand the dependencies because I do not get insights, a simple tool that basically has pretty looking dashboards, but you again have to fill that information over an Excel sheet is not going to be of help for you. And last but important thing, having all this information, but nothing of this rolling up at the top level is again a disaster in terms of picking a tool, because none of this actually addresses your pain points. So it's important that you sit down with your resources, understand what they struggle with, to understand why, what information is necessary, and how is that currently done. So identifying these 3 pain points is getting you on the right path or the first step towards your digital transformation journey. Now, with all of this, I'm sure you all are wondering, how is AI coming into picture? Most of the tools, you will see these dashboards. Again, if they are customizable, they align to what you want to see, is another factor. But this is information that you will already see using reports, using different dashboards that you can build in. You log in, you see all of that information. But imagine sitting in a monthly meeting with your client, with your executives, and quickly questions being thrown to you saying, what are things that needs your attention? So instead of navigating between the dashboard to say, what are the initiatives across the department where the budget has been distributed? So you see that over here, but instead of quickly navigating through the dashboard, you have a chat bot that helps you answer that question. So let's see how. So let's start with, do any of my projects need attention? So a smart chatbot will look at all the information that you have in the tool, and within a few seconds, you have the list of your projects that need your attention. So these are RAG indicators that are calculated automatically by the tool, telling you that with the current rate of progress, you run the risk of these projects getting delayed, or probably some of them are already delayed, and you need to kind of drill down and look at this information. Now you can drill down further and say, show me high priority tasks that are delayed that needs your attention. And you can do, and the chatbot will give you the answer right away. Besides that, let's look at how other charts can be driven. So let's say, can you show me a chart? So basically what we'll now see is what are the projects that are distributed across your clients. Just going to copy paste this again. So there you go. So across the different clients that you're working with, you might want to see the project so that you know actually how the distribution is done. So you can copy paste, you can copy the prompt so that quickly you get this information in real time and you need not run through different dashboards and projects. All of this information is showing you data across your projects. So that's the beauty of a tool where you don't have to run through or click on individual files. All that information that you would see in a dashboard should always be across projects. Now let's see what other prompts that we can give the tool. So let's start for a bar chart now. As an organization, you might have multiple project requests that are coming in. So check the request. So imagine you have a list of your project requests where you want to determine which of your projects might be the right fit for your organization. So considering this, you want to see how closely they align with the different objectives that you have. So with a report like this, you can see which of your project requests align with the different verticals or the different objectives that you have set up, so that you have an understanding. You can drill down and see which are the projects that you can pick or discuss during your meetings. Now that's about project request. Now let's ask our chatbot something about the risks. So let's create a risk matrix. Display. With so much advancements that are happening with the AI these days, you can have charts being drawn so that information in real time is quickly accessible, available for you based on the information, based on your data that you have collected in a project management software. So that's about getting all of this information. Another biggest point that a project manager or a program manager struggles with is resource management. So imagine there's a new project that's coming along that has been approved by the senior management. You understand a tentative timeline that has been put in, but what is difficult is actually staffing that project. What that means is you have a huge list of tasks, tentative skills that would be required for that project have been put in. So now, as a project manager, you have to relook at all your resources, understand what is keeping them busy across the projects, find the free resources, and allocate. It can take hours, if not days, for you to staff that project. And you're doing that with whatever project management activities that you are already doing. So it's a nightmare for all project managers. So let me show you a project. So imagine there's a project called website redesign. Just quickly switch and see if I can find that. So let's say there's a project called website redesign. I'll just quickly find that. There we go. Let's come to the Gantt chart. So if you see, there is a list of activities over here, which shows you your tasks, subtasks. There have been tentative skills that have been put on this particular project. Now, imagine staffing this project as I mentioned. You would need visibility. You would need to find out individual resources who play that skill and then quickly replace them with the actual user. Not an easy job, right? So chatbots make it easier for you. Let's staff project site redesign. So now imagine putting this in the chatbot. Sorry, that is my chatbot always acting weird. That is weird. Sorry about this, just give me a minute. I think okay. Let's refresh this. It's been in the same state, so I'll just refresh and do this prompt again. Sorry, looks like the chatbot is not ready to help me at the moment. We'll come back to this later. Ideally, what happens after all of this is basically when you go back to the project, you will see it staffed with the correct set of resources who play that role. We'll come back to this later and see if Lex is ready to help me at that point. That's the name of my chatbot. But let me actually show you how you could do this manually. So let's look at this report, which is workload by the skills or the job roles that your resources are typically associated with. So having a list of a view that shows you information in real time about your resources is a huge help for the resource manager. So here you can quickly see the resources by their job roles. You can see their current utilization across the projects. But the beauty of this particular view is the ability to see the data for a specific period. Here, you can always say, show me data for this specific month or for the next 6 months and so on. So it's not cumulative data, but a trend report that helps you analyze and take data-driven decisions. So imagine having this list, which you can further drill down and actually see the resources who play that skill. So you know if there's a new project coming along, which of your skills needs to be rehired because you would need more of those resources. In case you see that there's a typical set of projects that you're doing, you might want to relook at your projects which are in the requested state to be able to pick the right projects for your organization. With the tool, you should also have the flexibility of switching between the data as and how you want to see that. So whether it's by the job roles, whether it is by the department that your resources are associated with, the easy way with which you can configure this information is important. So a static tool that does not let you configure a tool is again not going to be of help. You'll land up still being in the same problem. So these are the departments that your projects are associated with. So you can easily see your departments. You can further drill down to see the actual users who play that role. So that if you see a department that's getting over allocated or under allocated, you can easily drill down to the individual resources to find out if there is something that you can reshuffle between the teams to get your projects back on track. You can also compare your plan versus actual so that you can easily track the planned versus the actual utilization of your resources, so that information about which resources typically delay the work. That helps you with managing your resources efficiency. Are there typical activities that you see that are delayed across your projects? Help you then identify whether there are certain steps that you need to rework, or if there's a similar project that's coming along, you might want to replan that in a better way. So when you look at your past data, these are your lessons learned that you've captured across your projects so that when there's a similar thing coming along, you know what are the changes that you need to do. So that's not information lost. That is not information in some resources mind. It is right there in the tool so that you can plan your future projects appropriately and accurately. Nice looking charts are also important. So when your executives especially are looking into this information, they can see all of this in real time again. But most importantly, they can take data based on this. They can take decisions based on the data that you see here. So a nice trend line that shows you what are the current history of your projects. You can see the availability of the resources over here compared to the month on month resources grouped by their skills. So they are stacked on each other. So for example, in the month of November, you can see you're already hitting the complete availability of your resources, which means that might be not the right time to pick up or start any new project or activities. Whereas as you move along in the month, you see your resources are getting free, so you can pick more projects. So all of this information, again, I like to emphasize, should be real time. If you find a tool where the wait time or the reload time is about 30 minutes, that's not a tool that you would want to pick when you're looking for an tool for your organization to have a single source of truth. A very important thing that organizations struggle with, and let me just quickly show you a what if analysis, or rather, let's talk about the first stage, actually, your project request. As an organization, you might have a lot of project requests that are captured through different sources. It could be your internal teams that are raising those requests. It could be ideas that your employees are generating that you need to kind of, go through when you're picking the new projects for the next financial year. So imagine having visibility to the list of these complete requests that goes through a formal approval process before you decide to pick these projects or not. So this is informed decision making that you are doing. And at any point in time, you have visibility to all that information so that you know why things were delayed, why did you pick up those projects or not, or if certain things were put on hold, you exactly know when that can be revived again in case you want to revisit that in future. So on screen, as you can see, are certain project requests captured through different sources. You can capture additional information, which is another important point that you should look in a tool. So if there are, very static kind of information that is captured, that might not align with the kind of information that you need for your projects. For example, A manufacturing organization would want to capture the plant where the project is executing, what is the units of effort that is required, these kinds of things. Whereas in typical banking would require different kind of information, whereas how this aligns with their strategic objective. Is it an internal project? Who is the client they are catering to? So every organization, every department would have a different set of information to capture. Basis this information, you might also want to do your reporting. So a tool that allows you to capture additional information using custom fields is something that you should look into. So imagine these project requests have certain information associated with it that also calculates a score. This visually tells you which of your project requests have a better weightage for you to even look into. Let's drill down on this particular one. So here you can see all the information that you have captured, a workflow that you can set up for yourself, allowing you to manage your workflows. So you are not changing the workflow for the tool is adapting to the workflow that you have. So you can put in all the workflow, attach documents, and have the entire communication history on what has been happening on this request. So you at any point in time have the complete visibility. So here you can see who raised the request, how did it move on from one state to another, what were the comments that were captured until the very last stage where the project has been approved. Excuse me. Now, let's imagine a place where now a high-level project plan has been created. So let's move to another view that shows us all of our project requests. These are put with their information that helps you pick project. And now you want to kind of analyze whether these project requests are a right fit for you or not based on budget, margin, and resources capacity. Let's pick a few projects here. So let's say I have picked these 3 projects, either because the budget looks good, the client might be something that you are trying to target, or some other factor. Again, an important thing to remember here is basically that these dashboards should allow you to, it should be easily configurable so that you can put in your own information. So you can see all the project requests here, and we are now going to check the impact of the same on the budgets, margin, and resources capacity. Your resources are already currently busy doing something. So it's important to understand what is their usage already and can they do this work. So now let's edit and change their state from requested to what if. So we're combining these projects together, and on refresh, we'll see the impact. And the best part being none of your active projects are being touched. No one has received notification, and you're just doing the scenario planning. So now if you see these project requests, if you were to go ahead with this, your budget, which has been approved, is getting impacted. Your margin also is not aligning to what you had in mind. And your capacity, especially for your designers and developers, is getting over allocated. Which means these two kind of roles, either you need to start hiring these resources so that you can do those projects, but then you still will have to compromise on the budget. So then as next steps, what you can do is either change the dates of the project to move it at a later point, or you can switch and put it back to the requested state and keep repeating these scenarios till you find the correct mix of projects. So now what you see is that if you do those 3 projects together, they are having a good impact on the capacity. They're well within the budget that has been approved, and your margin is also what you are trying to achieve. So that's how, using these live dashboards, the real-time information, you're taking an informed decision that you are able to do these projects together with the timeline that has been set up. So you can then move ahead and move it to the draft state or the relevant state that you need, and you can configure that so that whoever is now the project manager can move along to the next state and try planning out the project or moving on with the next steps. So that's how a tool helps you kind of pick the right projects with taking information from different sources. having that put on a single dashboard so that you have the real-time visibility. So that's in terms of, aligning towards the strategic objectives and goals and picking the right projects. Once these project moves into the active state, you would want to kind of, understand how the project is progressing. There are different aspects about your projects where you can see what are the documents, what are the risks that are involved. Risks are a very important factor, and you'd be surprised that most of the organizations have all their risks managed in a spreadsheet. Now, in a spreadsheet with no visibility to the project plan, these risks at times might sometimes, not be in the picture when you are wanting to look at your project plan, which means they get sidelined. So you need a tool that gives you a single source of truth for all the aspects about your projects. So you don't have to juggle then between spreadsheets and different tools. A single source of truth is what you need. So when you look at the risk, or you want to look at the Gantt chart to look at the total plan or the timeline of your project, is what a tool should offer. So you can track the milestones, have the task, dependencies, different resources who are being allocated over here on a single screen itself. Setting up baseline allows you to compare your original plan versus the one which is in action. So tracking deviation, understanding how things are progressing becomes a lot easier. All of this then contributes towards capturing the lessons learned of your project, which becomes the true pillar when you're now trying to pick up new projects which are similar to the ones that you have executed. So that's your basic project management, the Gantt chart, as you can see. So not only is it about managing the task, it's rolling up at your top level for each of the different stakeholders who are involved at different times to be able to look at this information in real time. So let's close this now. Let's look at another view. So only looking at projects in isolation is not going to be helping when you're doing those decisions. So looking at cross-project overviews is very important. And if a tool does not give you that, it's not, rolling up to the true level that you want to see. So having a dashboard like this, where you can see multiple projects, each selected by a filter, again, where you can pick up what you want to see, comes in handy. So all those projects would be listed. You can drill down to the detail level as you need. But what is more appealing on this view is your right-hand side. So here you can see where you are today to understand what is delayed, what is on track, and what is upcoming. If there are dependencies between the task of the same project or across projects, that's something you can easily track in this particular view itself. Whether it is looking at your project schedule or looking at your cost trends so that you can easily move between them, easily see the data month on month with a nice trend line showing you how things are progressing is what you can see here. And again, I probably said that a couple of times, this information should be real time. So you can see month on month plan versus the actual cost, where you can see where there has been a cost overrun, where things have been in line with what you have planned, or in fact, probably you still have smaller part of the budget left for the next month. So these are all real-time information that you can see. It could be a monthly cost by category report where you have your CapEx and OpEx costs that are being captured. You have those different categories also defined in the tool. So you can see all of this information over here so that you exactly know where you have been spending more money. Is it your resources or external cost causing your project cost to be increased? Now that's all from a perspective where a specific user, let's say the project manager, needs all of this information. Different project managers have a standardized way now to report the status to your executives or the stakeholders. So not only are you following a set standard, which means it takes away the stress away from you, where you don't have to remember what a green would mean and what an amber would mean. I know these are standards, but imagine a tool that lets you define the standards according to your organization so that once your executive logs into the system, they have a single source of truth across all the portfolios or the programs so that they can see all of this information in real time. So this is a portfolio dashboard. As you can see, I've changed a few metrics. Again, all because this tool can be easily configured. So you can see what are the current active projects across your managers, across your portfolios. You can see different metrics in terms of cost, effort, and so on. You can see the portfolios over here with a quick link to drill down to the specific portfolio. The status of the multiple portfolios being summarized to you so that you know probability what the manager have been telling you or your individual program managers have been telling you about why things are red or yellow. As you scroll down, you can see the timeline view. These are diamonds, which shows you the milestone of your project, which so that you know what was delayed, what is done on time, and what is upcoming. So a single dashboard giving you all the visibility, which you can just simply scroll down. Or in fact, imagine having this being scheduled to your inbox on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon so that you can double click the PDF and you get the visibility. This is most loved reports across any domains that I have seen with my experience. So you can quickly see what are the projects to be delivered month on month across your different portfolios. You know where you're spending more budget and the RAG indicator. So for example, for the project that you're going to deliver in the month of June next year is already at risk. You might want to kind of drill down and see what that project or list of projects are to be able to have communication right over here so that you can share your ideas, share your experience, and see if things can be brought back into track with all of this. So not only can you look at the data, you can drill down to take those actions, collaborate, which is very important thing because as you're putting across your thoughts as based on the experiences that you have so far, a tool that collects all of this in terms of the lessons learned are going to form the basis of how you will execute your projects moving forward. From here, you can also then drill down to the specific portfolio or a specific program so that you can see overall for that particular portfolio, what are the different programs that you are executing, and further even drilling down at that level to see the details. So you can individually drill down at these levels also to be able to see the projects and how things are overall progressing. So that's the visibility that you get with a tool that allows you to put in your information, easily configure that. And who's driving all of this? It is your resources because they have now a very standardized process that is helping them put all of that information. It is the leadership who's driving all of them because they believe in the resources and the tool which helps them drive towards the success. Now, across different organizations, you can see people align their projects to portfolios, to programs, or probably it's just the client who can be portfolios. So portfolio would across industries mean different thing. So a tool that has a very set structure to what a portfolio is might not be helpful at times. So another perspective here where you have OKRs, the buzzword another these days. So you have objectives and key results. Objectives are what you're trying to achieve as an organization, and your key results are what is helping you achieve that particular objective. It's the strategic alignment and the key results that align to your strategy. So when you're planning in advance for the next financial year, you're putting in what you want to achieve, what is going to be your strategic objective for the next financial year. So you put that in a tool, you align the different key results that help you achieve that so that when you start tracking things, you have a very set way, set processes to be able to capture all of that information. So here the list of the strategies. Let's say an organization has been planning for the next financial year. You can see the list of those strategies here. You can see how far you are from achieving that particular strategy. As you scroll down, you can then see the different key results that you have put in place, which have certain owners and the baseline value with what you're trying to achieve so that you can capture all of this data to see how things are progressing. Now, let's say you want to drill down to a specific portfolio or a specific strategy over here. As you drill down, you can then see that specific data, helping you look at the realization percentage, what are the activities that need your attention, and so on. You can track the key results and exactly understand where and what is causing this particular strategy to be at risk. You can track then the baseline and the actual values so that you know how far you are from achieving it. These are the different projects that is helping you achieve that specific key results and overall that strategy. So again, a single dashboard that gives you this visibility. So you can align not only by the portfolios and the programs, it could be your strategic objectives and the key results that help you succeed. All of that in a single tool is what you can put across so that you can quickly analyze all of this information, get flagged well in advance if things need your attention. That helps you drive towards managing your projects more successfully. And a tool that has all your resources together is going to be more helpful because then you need not rely on outdated spreadsheets and some other tool where information is all manually put up. You have a tool that does all of that for you. And the AI part will, of course, help you achieve things and get success or find those information in real time. So that's about a tool. Like I said, there are three different factors. It is the people, it is the processes, and the tool. So it's not one, it is all of these three put in together that helps you identify and drive towards the digital journey, the digital transformation journey that you are on. So coming back to my slides now. So the three biggest shifts as we saw with AI coming into picture with project management is about having your meetings turned into the real-time dashboards. So you have all a single source of truth to see all of that information quickly accessible at any given point. You have those missed deadlines across your spreadsheet now with the predictive alerts put in well in advance so that the system is flagging you, your chatbot is flagging you things in advance, telling you what is something you need to drill down to. With all of this, a proactiveness comes into picture. What that means is you can see the analysis, the chatbot, your dashboards are giving you in real time so that you can predict things well before you understand what is the new strategy that you need to plan out for the upcoming year. So a single source of truth is what you truly achieve. Moving on, let's look at the navigation analogy. I purposely put this over here because we looked at a lot of concepts. So let's, have a simple analogy over here to, imagine that you are going to office, coming back to your home, and imagine having a navigation system put in place to give you all of this information. That's what you do in real time, right? So that's the commute that you have every day. But imagine having a GPS navigation and how we all are now used to doing all of that. So it's a shift in your mind that is necessary when you are on this journey. If you keep thinking that this is how I'm used to doing every day, that's not going to help. Your GPS is actually showing you the different routes, how quickly you can get home. So trust in that digital transformation journey. There is a reason why you have put that in place. So instead of solely depending on your manual processes, you will now have a set of structure, set of tools that help you kind of be more organized and manage your project successfully. So the need to eliminate the way you're currently doing your meetings, spending hours putting in that particular report so that you can show it to your executives is something that you need to relook at. So that's what we call the why. That's the first questions that you need to ask. Why are we on the transformation journey? Is it because the world is going being digitally transformed these days? Are organizations putting their effort into it? And that's why we need to do it? How are we going to do that? So basically, is it going to be the tools? Is it going to be the resources? Is it how we operate that needs to change? And who are all going to be the part of the digital transformation journey? You need answers to all these three questions before you start this. You need to identify the team. You need to identify the pain points, as we would call, so that you understand what it takes to be able to achieve all of this in real time. Based on my experience so far with hundreds and thousands of discovery calls that I have done with different organizations, I typically organize this into people, processes, so that we understand, or rather people, processes, and projects. So what are the projects that you run, which are the people who run this, and what are the processes that are put in place? Based on that, I would put that particular discovery call or that organization in the levels that I've mentioned over here. So first, it is reactive, which means there are a lot of manual processes. These are, you're very people dependent to get all of this information. There's that one resource who has all of that information, and you have to ask that person who will kind of give you this information. It could be a mix of spreadsheets also, where you are dependent on, inputting this information in a very ad hoc manner in a spreadsheet, or it could just be, emails that you have sent out with minutes of meeting after a status meeting report, status meeting basically. So that's my first level, as I put it, which is reactive. You're doing as things are being asked to you. The second is organized. So you have some PM processes that have been set up, a single tool that basically helps you put in your task. It could be MS Planner, it could be some task management tool that you have put in place. But there's no automation, there's no single source of truth, and you're still manually inputting this information. But at least it's not through different resources or put across different sources. It is in a tool, but all manual, which means the data that you see here at times cannot be fully trusted. You cannot leverage that to take decisions. The third is proactive. So you have some nice tools put in place, resources are correctly utilized, things are put in place with the resources and the processes that you have set up. But all of this information is not rolling up at the top level for the executives. So it is the executives over here who have a pain point. The individual resources are working fine because they have something there, they quickly know what they're supposed to be working on. But at the end of the day, it's not helping organization takes those data driven decisions. And the fourth is transformative. These resources have certain tool, they have moved from 1 to 3 successfully, and they realize that with whatever they are doing, they're not going to be scaling at a level that they need to. They're probably trying to achieve 5 million in the next financial year, but the current processes, current resources, and the current way of working would not support them. So they need a tool to quickly get information, have AI enabled so that it supports their decision making. So take this moment to reflect, understand where you are in this particular level of your digital transformation journey, so that we'll now next understand where your people, your processes, and your projects come into picture. So the first, let's look at people. Like I said earlier, it is the people's mindset that needs a shift. You're used to doing certain way every day. It's like that child who wakes up in the morning, has to go to school, come back and do the homework. We're all used to that pattern. But can there be a smarter way where a child can kind of align all of those things properly to be able to add in more activities, probably excel at some other sport too? We all are kind of following the same pattern, and sometimes we don't even want to break through that. We all understand that we can be more efficient, but there's someone needs to come and tell us that there is a better way of doing this. So we are used to kind of doing meetings, putting all of that in an email, sending that across, so that part is done. It could be spreadsheets, a single spreadsheet, and with it's a fun that I ask people when they say spreadsheet is their project management tool. So with the Google Sheets coming into picture and all of that online, a lot of people are heavily dependent on spreadsheets to be able to do their project management. But one spreadsheet gone corrupt and you've lost all your data. Someone making a change and you have to redo all of that again. So spreadsheets, while being very flexible, being very quick to enter information, do not give you the right visibility, and one small undo done can take you back long way. So when it comes to people, you have to understand how are they currently doing this? Is it manual work? Is it spreadsheet? Is it the real-time status where your actual team members are entering the project status updates in different tools, which then rolls up at the top level? And of course, the fourth level, which is having all of that, moving on to a better sophistication, but understanding that this is not going to scale with what you're truly trying to achieve. So, moving up this ladder, right from the status meetings and the simple minutes of meeting emails that you are sending, depending on a sole person to get all of this information, to the advanced intelligence, is the process that every organization will have to go through before they move on the digital transformation journey. The next are your processes. We've had users who have started with started as a 5 user company to now being a 100 and 500 user company and being with us for long years. And that's not because they don't want to move the tool, or they find the tool very easy. It is because the tool will adapt with you. The processes that you have set up are what the tool is inculcating. It is not the other way around. So imagine having a tool where you have to now go back and change your processes. So again, coming back before the transformation journey, it could be emails that you're sending out. It could be the minutes of meeting that are captured on a paper, which are Xeroxed and sent across. And believe me, there are a lot of organizations still doing that. It could be information consolidated in your spreadsheet. It's a Google sheet where you're putting all of that. Still better than sending out emails and having that spreadsheet with all of information, making it very heavy for you to see that. It could then be the level 2, the basic tracking and approval. Again, basic processes that you have set up for you to manage the approvals and report the progress to your executive. So with all of these levels, what comes into picture are the processes. A tool that molds to the kind of processes that you want to set up is what you need to look into. The other way around makes it then difficult for the people, which takes us back to the earlier thing that we talked about, is that the resources, if they're given a chance to kind of find a tool which aligns to the kind of way they work, you can, move them successfully into your digital transformation journey. So you need to find out what are the processes that you are currently kind of, following to manage your projects, resources in a better way. And last are your actual projects. This is the lowest level, which, kind of your projects are then being managed by the resources, which are then, processes built, which are followed by your resources. So how are you manage your projects? Is it again in an Excel sheet? Is it something that you put on a paper? Is it something where you have kind of using some tools, which is a basic task management tool, which is only accessible by you? So if you have team members reporting to you, you have to manually share this information with them. So each of these levels, the 3 levels, people, processes, and projects we looked at, should be in a way which they give you a better visibility into what is currently happening, the actual progress. It should increase or make it better for you to forecast what's coming. It should give you the necessary visibility to look at your plan versus actuals so that you can easily compare the trend and take better data-driven decisions. It should help you to better manage your resources, not over allocating them, but using them in a very optimal way across different departments, across different domains or different skills that you have your resources by. So all of this helps you with kind of better knowledge transfer, better data driven decisions that you are taking, and a single source that allows you to do all of this. So it's a ladder each organization will go through when they are on the digital transformation journey. And what needs to again identify is where you are in this particular digital transformation journey. So where most PMOs stand today, and it's a stat that you would see that being collected through other sources, is that 67% of the PMOs who are the go-to drivers in any organization running the projects, helping the project managers look at the information so that they can run things in time and report this progress back to the executive. So these 67% of PMOs operate primarily at level 1 and 2. It's manual, all in spreadsheets. And believe me, those PMOs are the one manually updating the spreadsheet. So one of our customer, an Australian-based customer, it's a huge F&B industry. So they rank their projects, and depending on what they are going to be delivering in the next 3 years, accordingly the rank changes, and all of that they do in a spreadsheet. So the implication of this on a resources is not something they can calculate, because that's another spreadsheet. So with spreadsheet, with the level 1 and 2, all of that is going to be a manual process for you. Only very less set of people who have actually moved on to the level 3, where they have a tool in place, but that's not all rolling up at the top level. So with this, you are not getting the necessary visibility for you to be able to understand how things are overall progressing. With all of this, it is important that the leadership team is convinced that they need a tool to be able to kind of get this visibility. If they are solely dependent on their project managers or the PMOs, as you would see these days are driving the project, you are basically putting a pressure on your resources who have a blind spot and cannot necessarily give you this information. So it isn't only about technology, it is the why, hows that you need to identify with your key resources to understand what are the challenges that your organization is facing so that you can align with the strategic objective that you're trying to achieve. So that you have to kind of bridge the gap between what, how, and why are we on this journey. While a traditional project management tool has been offering this, the AI is now putting a new face to how you would represent all of this information and how quickly you can do that. So, with predictive risk analysis, the system can predict what are the risks based on the trends. You can see based on the projects that you have executed so far, what have been the traditional risks that have been involved, so that when a newer project is coming along, you exactly know what are the risks involved in doing this particular project. If you see that in a particular time of the year, you see that a lot of resources go on a holiday, so then you know how to plan your resources so that you can easily reshuffle that resource. So a tool, the AI that allows you to do that at a single click, is something that you should be looking at. If you're going to be dependent on, again, manually doing that, the tool is not going to be successful. So AI allows you to do that. Imagine having a chatbot who you can ask, what is the current allocation of my resources for a specific period, which shows you the allocation. You can then switch resources, switch the task between the resources so that you can take the corrective actions well before it becomes an issue. When I say intelligent resource allocation, it is basically assigning your resources based on their skills. If your resources are geographically dispersed, you need to understand what is keeping them busy, what are the time zones they are working on, so that you can allocate things accordingly. So, doing an intelligent resource allocation to optimally allocate them is what a true AI helps you to promote a successful project execution. Conversational dashboards. I think we looked at quite a few dashboards where you can drill down on the charts to see details. You can quickly have discussions right from the data that you are looking at. All of this information is in real time so that you understand why a certain thing is failing. If there are repeated project statuses that have been reported to you, you have the history of all the communication so that you understand how overall the big picture for your projects are. So let's look at a few examples now, a few case studies or success stories, as I would like to call it. Different levels of the digital transformation journey that each one have been, progressing to. So I was in almost 2 years back, I was in conversation with a financial firm. They basically were at level 1, which means they were doing all of that in spreadsheet with 500 plus users, each project manager having their own set of spreadsheets. What that means is, of course, everything being put in manually, no single source of truth, because each project manager would have their own set of projects. Another project manager would have their. So an executive, when they ask them how are the projects progressing, each one of them would give them a separate report. All of that done manually, which means by the time the information was given, it was already too old for them to be able to take the correct decisions. All of them would sit in the meeting, spend hours to get the real time information, because they thought instead of individually sharing that information, let's sit down in a meeting. So when they started doing that, they realized they would spend hours in a day to just understand the top level view and another meeting to then take the decision. So a lot of hours were spent in the status report meeting. Second, the resources were not allocated correctly. So since the resources were shared across these project managers, no one really had the visibility of who's using which resource. They could talk to each other at times and share that I'm using resource A on my task and that resource is working 50%. So other project manager would at times use that 50% or at times even cause over allocation. So who suffered? It was the individual resources who had the burnout because they had to deliver things on time. If a slippage occurred, it was the project manager who would realize late in time that there was an over allocation issue, which is why the task got delayed. But by the time the task was already delayed, and this status then need to be reported to the project manager, by the project manager to the stakeholder. Now, the stakeholder had all of these issues where resources were, over allocated, status reporting was not done in time, which means picking up newer project was not possible. Being a financial organization, they had to deal with both internal projects to offer better services to the customers and external client facing projects too. So, with both of these projects together, with multiple project managers, things were not getting delivered on time. So, then they started looking for a tool. At the same time, the digital transformation journey, which means looking at the resources, the processes, what can we do better? Because competition is everywhere. Every organization has to deliver something that is different than what their competitor is doing. So they had to put in new processes, new projects they need to pick to be able to offer better services to their clients. With new projects being picked up, new strategies being planned, it was very important that they found a tool that has all of this information served as a single source of truth so that they could allocate resources properly, not spend hours with the manual effort, and successfully drive their projects. So when I did a discovery call, identified all their problems, it suggested that we have point of contacts in their organization, POCs as I would call it. So they would help me understand what each of their problems are. Once that was done, we identified the different issues, like I said earlier, resources being a problem. At times when they were collecting all of that information through the team members, all of that was done manually. So then I realized the blind spots that were there because of which the problem started escalating. So we introduced a tool. We started putting one department at a time, importing their projects. And after 2 months of time, with about 3 weeks of implementation, importing their current projects into a tool, in 2 months of time, what we realized is that the status meeting time reduced by 70%. Because then their executive could just log in at any given point whenever they were with their stakeholders, with their client. They had the real visibility. They could find the information and take decisions based on that. This also freed up a lot of hours for the project managers to actually collaborate with their resources to understand where they are stuck, where would they need help, so that projects then eventually started being on track. All of the manual work of updating the spreadsheets, understanding which resources worked on, all of that was freed up because that was automatically done in the tool. As soon as you allocate the resources, things automatically rolled up at the workload level. So all of this make predictions of how things are progressing very easy, accessible at any given point. And since you could predict where there could be a delay, where there could be a resource over allocation, those issues were resolved well in time before it became an issue. So it was not only the hours that were recovered to be spent on better activities, the efficiency of the resources also increased, making the organization, making a happy team that were, driven towards achieving the success towards their digital transformation journey. So it's the tool that eventually helped them, but it was also resources who kind of realized what their pain points are, agreed that they need help so that we could put in processes, we could set up a timeline to get all of this done, delivered well within time. Another similar journey that I went through was with the manufacturing. Now, as compared to a financial organization, manufacturing has a lot of different set of problems. They have different departments who are organized on a single project. So with banking, you have typically one team that does the work and get things delivered. With the manufacturing organizations, things are much complex. You have different departments, you have varied skills, and at any point you have specific approvals, gate approval processes that needs to move from one stage to other, one department to other. Most of these projects were client facing, which means there was a revenue associated with it. So a lot of times there were missed milestones causing the revenue to be stuck at some point. This also means all of this information was not available in real time for the executives to understand what is the progress, causing their competitor to deliver things well in advance before they could do. This caused a lot of revenue loss, but also their reputation was at stake. So when I having started having this conversation with one of their VP, the VP of operations, what he mentioned was all these problems. And he asked me, Rashmi, is there something that we can do to align all of my resources together so that I understand how things are progressing, what really is their problem because of which we are not able to deliver this? With manufacturing, there are also different approvals that they have to go through. So well in advance, understanding that there is a certain approval coming through and what are the pre-steps that they have to achieve before they send certain things for approval is also important. So having those notifications, having those alerts is very important, because if that is missed, they have to move to another timeline, which is another 3 or 6 months ahead, which means you're giving your competitor another chance to go ahead than you and deliver the product. So for this particular domain, understanding the risks, understanding what are the approvals that needs to be done, and alert on that to the right set of people becomes very important. You then have gate approval processes. When a project moves from one stage to other, before the new team can accept it, there has to be a supervisor who will look at what has been done. Is the product in line with the specifications, and then approve or reject that gate. If that is not done, you need to rework the entire timeline, make changes to that, and then send it back to the gate approval process. So all of that needs to be done. Most of the tools that they looked into did not give them this flexibility. They were very rigid tools, no approvals in place. You could just track simple project plans, but it was more like, spreadsheet on steroids. So you couldn't do much, get much intelligence out of the tool. So when I started talking to them, I realized that different departments had their own way of working. What one person would call a health of a project, not necessarily the other team would realize it the same. So they needed a single tool that gave them all of this information, while each of them having their own set of approvals being followed. So during their entire digital transformation journey, we realized that different teams need different processes to be followed, different timelines that they have, but eventually all rolling up to deliver that one single project. So we started identifying the teams, identifying the subject matter expert of each of those departments who would be involved with us defining their processes. We then imported a single project at one time. That's what we did initially for the first 3 months, where we imported a couple of projects, set up the processes, revisited what did not work the first time, and then moving along to the next phase. We brought in different teams at different stages, because then the gate approval process would be required, so that you would understand which part, which stage of that particular project is completed. Once that was done, we identify the reports and dashboards each of those teams would need, with each of those teams having their individual dashboards to understand how things are progressing, how are at times there could be certain patients, as I would call it. So it was one of the medical manufacturing. So there are patients being enrolled, to understand how are those enrollments done, who all are available for the testing, is the kind of information that they would need. So that information was put in place. So all of this then aggregated at the executive level, so that they have a big picture of what are the different type of projects that were being managed. So a single tool allowed them to do that. And within 6 months, less than 6 months actually, the VP of operations who we have, weekly cadence to start with, and then moving on to monthly. He was very happy and telling me that the single tool basically moved us well ahead in our digital transformation journey, because now they have a single source of truth. They exactly know what the pain points are, and what they need to do to be able to take those decisions. So it is not only the tool, the way of thinking that had changed because a tool was put into place. So similar use cases is what I deal with practically every day, understanding the pain points, because once that is clearly identified, we talk through the why are you on the digital transformation journey, is how then I next align them with the next steps. And it's not 5 users, it's not 500 users. It is the resources who have the certain expectations out of the tool, expectations out of what is going to now happen to the daily work that they are going to do, that matters when we pick the tool for them. And in the new age of AI, as we are all progressing into, there's a natural fear of saying, is it going to replace my job? So you would probably hear everyone telling you it's not your job. It is the way of thinking that we need to now all inculcate to adapt to the AI way that we are now going to manage our projects. So from enforcing those daily things, the compliances that you are going to do, to having a tool where AI helps you kind of realize things well in advance, is how an AI is going to help us. So it's going to be the enablers for us to take those data driven decisions. It's not controlling you, it is enabling you to give you that information or take those decisions. Moving from a task manager where you're managing individual tasks by the resources, to shaping how your organization is aligned to delivering, is the new role that each project manager will now move into. So it's not tracking those daily KPIs or monthly KPIs that you're expected to deliver. It is understanding well in advance what needs your attention, so that you can take those decisions, you can inform whoever needs to know about all of that, to say how can we better do things. So don't think of AI as someone who is kind of replacing you, but someone who is your colleague, who's your friend, who's enabling you, who's making your vision towards achieving the goal a lot successful, with giving you all this information in real time. You're not the data collector anymore, you are the driver after you see the data. So as opposed to how you would put your data in spreadsheet, you would put in formulas to say if certain things are red and certain things are green, show things as at risk. So you're manually doing that. So imagine you are getting a friend to help you who's doing all of that manual work for you, to then say this is not what we would deliver on time, but if we do things A, B, and D, we will get things back on track. So it's helping you be the decision, because you have all the information ready to be able to take that decision. So it is focusing on the decisions that you are going to take, not on the process, not on the journey of how you're doing it. So this shifts represents the traditional way of how a project manager initially thought: manual work, controlling all that information, and kind of doing all of this manually. That way now is moving on to a much organized, much easy way, where AI is going to be the enabler for you to do all of this in real time. So the barrier isn't technology, it's the leadership readiness. You as leaders, you as the people who need to kind of look at yourself in a new role, is what the ask of the current, the way current the projects are being managed requires you to do. So the tool, the capabilities the tool is offering is just an helper for you. The AI is collecting all of that information and showing you the results. So the question is whether, organizations, the leaders are prepared to take this change, because it's going to be your help. It is going to be the enabler for your organization to see all of this in real time. So don't make a technology saying a certain tool is going to be helpful or a certain tool is not going to be helpful for us, but rather sit down, understand why do we need a tool, what is the expectations out of the tool, and not the other way around, so that you pick the right tool for your organization. Don't look at a temporary fix. Look for something that will scale with you, that will adapt to your processes as you move along in your transformation journey. Revisiting the common adoption pitfalls, the shiny tool syndrome is what I like to call it. So basically, it's AWS these days. Let's all move to AWS. Let's find a certain tool, and let's not name tools over here. But basically, tools claim to do a lot of things. It is ideal that you start when you're looking at the tool, you start a POC with them, because believe me, however it looks from the outside, till you get your hands dirty in a particular tool, you will never understand if that tool is the right fit for you. There are a lot of tools that tell you, claim that yes, we have this ability, we can do financial management, we have the dashboards that you need, but all of that is static, or these basically are different connectors or plugins that you will have to use eventually. Not only does it escalate your cost, if the system breaks down, you're back to square zero. So don't look at flashy tools, nice looking UI, because those are deceptors. They are not really what you want to see in a tool. Find out why you need a tool, what are your pain points, and then align with a proper POC for finding out your tool. So don't look at the shiny tool, find the right tool that does things right for you. When you're looking at tool, there's always going to be a resistance, because your managers are used to doing things a certain way. It is not their fault, because they have been doing that traditionally. We have been all doing that year on year. So it is important to understand why the resistance is there in place. Is it because things would become more difficult for them? So when you're doing a POC with a certain tool, when you're looking at certain tool or having a trial with them, have your project managers buy in. Have them look at the tool, because they are going to be the biggest supporters for you. Eventually, it is still the leadership who has to kind of, be with them, promote them to take that decision. But it is day in, day out that your project managers would spend time in the tool. So it is important that you have their buy-in, understand what their resistance is, because it's a very natural way for them to understand, what if the tool replaces my job? What if it takes more hours for me to put in this information than I'm currently doing? Because believe me, we have a lot of work to do internally, report things, talk to the project team members, and do all that reporting. So if a tool is going to add to their work, you will have resistance from your team. Similarly, if you don't have their buy-in, basically you buy a tool and you tell them use it from day one, they're not going to be using it. The tool will fail. And then you would eventually think that the tool did not work for us. It's not that. It's actually not understanding your pain points that cause this problem. So you need to understand the behavior, at times even incentivize your resources, because at times we have seen that works. So it's, while you set up the processes, if you don't give your resources sufficient, and when I say incentivizing them, it's not necessarily monetary. Non-monetary incentives also come or helps you a long way. And lack of sponsorship, of course. So doing a transformation without having the correct visibility, consistent support from the higher management, who kind of understand why a tool has been put in place. So it has to be a collaborative effort with the key members who are driving towards this particular digital transformation journey. To adopt to the kind of pitfalls, the common problems that you are facing, during my discovery call, I ask a lot of questions. So typically my demo lasts for 30 minutes, but my discovery call is about an hour. That's because we go with a very consultative approach, and it is important for you as leaders, as project managers, to apply the same with your problems, with your interactions with your colleagues and executives. A consultative approach works a lot more, because then you understand the mindset behind what's stopping you from the digital journey. So start small, start with a pilot, understand what the pain points are, as I mentioned earlier. Why are we? So have a meeting where you discuss all of those points. Understand where you want, where you are currently versus where you are trying to go in this journey. What is the success story that you want to build, that you would want to talk about with your team members, with your executives, is something you have to plan well in advance. So that trust, that consultative approach that you have is very important. So the strategic approach would be talking through them, having your leadership buy-in, starting small. So the Big Bang theory doesn't work always. Sometimes doing a pilot with a specific team, with a specific set of resources and a specific use case is always, what will lead you towards success. That will give you a good understanding of what did not work in case you need to reiterate or, rework on the processes again. It will also give you a good understanding of the timeline and how mature you are in terms of adopting that tool. With the leadership buy-in, you know that whatever activities, whatever efforts that you are putting in is being appreciated, and you have their complete support, because that is all will trickle down in the entire hierarchy. So pick small, do that experiment, get your lessons learned from all of that exercise you have been doing, to be able to scale progressively towards the next problem, so that at the end of the POC or the end of the trial that you're doing, you have a good informed decision whether that tool is the right fit for you, or whatever processes that you have been setting up are the right fit for you. So, like, I've put over here, transformation is not a marathon. You don't have to run and achieve something. It is a sprint. It is the daily activity that you would perform, the daily things that you're going to do to achieve the big picture. It is an iterative approach that you will take up. So, what's your single? This is what you need to kind of reflect back and understand what is your single biggest hurdle from achieving the true digital transformation that you want to. So identifying the timeline is obviously one of the important thing, but is it the leadership buy-in, which is the maximum is what I have seen across the industry. It's because leaders are not convinced that a tool like this will help them. It is usually they think it is the people who are going to give the information. But people are stuck with something else. It is their day-to-day work. It is the daily struggles with whatever activities they have been performing. It could be a cultural resistance too. So we are all used to doing certain things, especially you would see with certain type of industries. They are used to doing certain things certain way. It is very difficult to change that mindset to say you need help when you want to be able to achieve success with the global market, with the race that we are all part of. It is important to understand why we are lacking, and for most of the time it is the cultural resistance. The third, important but not to an extent where you wouldn't want to kind of look at a tool due to budget constraints. With so many tools in the market, it's always confusing to understand which one should I go ahead with. So one, have a budget approved, so you exactly know if whether you can go ahead or not above that. What is the hard stop for you? But with different tools having different budgets and different pricing plan, it is important to identify which plan will suit you the best. And of course, the technical complexity, while really that is the lesser hurdle that an organization face, it is one of the very important. Why? Because if a tool has all the features, but if it is not going to be quickly adopted by your organization, your users are not so tech savvy, or basically it takes a lot of hours for the tool to be implemented. And we've seen tools take about months to be implemented, if not year. So basically, if the tool has all of these different hurdles, your digital transformation is going to be rocky. Understanding what in your organization has the maximum problem, identifying that is one of the important factors. Like I said, for technical complexity, if the tool is very easy to use, that's going to be quickly adopted. But if it doesn't give you the necessary visibility, again, that would work for a smaller while, but for the longer run, it would not. If a tool has all the features but it's very complex to set up, your team members need to kind of put in a lot of efforts, and it will take you a year to actually see the results. That patience none of us are going to have, because eventually we want to see the success right from day one. So find a tool that basically within a few shorter implementation timeline helps you see the success. So holy grail, 100% data driven PMO team basically are where decisions are taken in real time. These are not intuition based. These are not based on manual efforts collected from different sources to show you that. It is basically a single source of truth that PMO has access to the predictive data to the historical timelines and the historical information that you have about your projects to be able to take better and data driven decisions. Risk, managing those risks across your projects, being proactive, having a set standard to that is what a true PMO is achieving. Your resources are optimally allocated, which means they are not struggling, they are not being over allocated. You exactly identify which of your resources are working where. Should you need to start hiring right at this stage? Can you reshuffle resources? Do you have a mix of junior and seniors in the correct order that you need, or the correct weightage that you need? Are the decisions a PMO can look at these reports and take in real time? And it is not a one day activity, it is a continuous activity, continuous improvement that you build into the tool. So the tool grows with you. Find a tool that basically grows with you. You don't need to change the tool after 1 or 2 years. We've had customers who have stayed with us for the last 19 years and they started with us with a 5 user account. So it's not only a flashy looking tool, a nice UI tool, but it's also the features. It is also how quickly that adopts and how it adopts to the processes that you are improving. So that's how a 100% data driven PMO team looks like in an organization which is on their journey towards digital transformation. And AI leverages you to take all of these decisions. So the future outlook, look at AI as a co-pilot, not as a replacement. It will be an enabler for you, not a replacement. So future project managers will be dependent on AI, and that's the phase that's being changing across how you are managing your projects, your day-to-day activities. So what is a manual tedious, manual time-consuming task? You can rely on AI to do that. What AI is giving you is going to form the basis of the information that you will use to take those data driven decisions. It will be the single source of truth that you have to be able to pass on this information, make changes as required. And again, AI will help you take those decisions. It enables the PMO to be the strategic driver towards achieving the goal. So they are the main people sitting between the project managers and the team members who will connect them with the executive. So the PMO team then becomes the source where the lessons learned are captured to be able to pass this information to the executive. The executives will pass on this information about where that organization is headed for everyone to work together to achieve this transformation journey, which is a continuous activity. So as next steps, we all have to be ready. The tool exists. You will see hundreds of tools, but it is important to identify the right tool. Are you ready to move this shift just because everyone is doing it, or is it because your organization needs it? You, as the enabler, need to have this. So the future of project manager or management belongs to those who embrace transformation not as a technology initiative, but as a leadership initiative. We all possess that information, we all possess that skill set required to align ourselves with the bigger picture of what our organization is driving. So take help of these tools of AI, which will enable you to align to the strategic impact that you will have on your organization. So the vision is important, where you are driving. Your leadership buy-in, that's your sponsorship, is required. The culture has to adapt to what you are trying to now achieve and the capability of all your resources. So this is the framework organization on the digital transformation journey needs to look into. The vision is important because you need to understand where you are going. The sponsorship is because you need to have your leadership buy-in. Your culture is because you need to identify what is lacking, whereas the capability helps you understand what inherently are the forces or basically the skills and tools that you have in place that will move you towards this journey. So start with assessment, start with the vision, ask the why question. It is important because you assess your resources, your current processes, you align them with the strategic objectives or the portfolios that you wish to achieve. Initially, after you have identified the why you want to do this, comes the next part where you then say, what are the tools that we need to look into. And it could be some internal tools, it could be a project management software where you need to kind of, align and see if that adapts to your processes. Run an implementation. And this is a tentative timeline. Sometimes depending on the number of users, number of processes that you have, this timeline might extend or shorten. So pick a tool that helps you kind of put all of that, run an implementation, a pilot implementation, capture the lessons learned, which will then help you scale, embed those processes in your organization. So this phased approach allows you to capture those lessons learned and take a well structured approach towards moving along in the journey. Look at when capturing the lessons learned throughout your trial or the POC, understand what your lagging indicators are and what the leading are. Your lagging indicators typically would be your project delivery. Okay, are you able to predict that well in time? Are your resources being efficiently utilized? Do you have the portfolio kind of reporting that helps you track how aligned you are in terms of delivering the ROI? And has the time to your delivery increased or reduced? Your leading indicators being, how are the user adopting to this? Are they asking the right questions? Are they turning up on those POC calls or the pilot that you are doing? Is the quality of the data that you are capturing improved than how you are currently managing that? Do you see standardized way of doing things? Has your manual effort reduced? Are you able to capture more risks, lead those metrics well in advance so that you can rate the risk, understand overall what it means to be able to deliver things right on time and in budget? So looking at this information that you're capturing both in terms of lagging and leading metrics help you understand how things are progressing. Your AI enabled roadmap for the PMO team, where you will have a foundation, you have the data that you are capturing, you have the reliable sources, because all of this is in a single tool itself. You get real visibility using the dashboards, the AI feature, because none of this is going to be manual effort anymore. That part has already been done. You've looked at this before. You're now just going to run reports, your dashboards, ask AI, and you have visibility to the real-time data. Looking at this information, you can improve your performance, you can take better and data-driven decisions. So your prediction becomes a lot easier for you to then move along this journey in a continuous way, make those changes, improve, move along, and kind of address the other pain points or other issues that you are facing. So last but not the least, that brings us to the end of the session. So digital transformation journey that you are on, your organization is trying to achieve, is not about technology alone. It is about leadership. It is about your people and the processes that you are trying to improve in this particular journey itself. And it's not a single day activity. It's not moving to SaaS or moving to a cloud. It is basically the entire mindset change that is required. AI is going to enable you to move from a very reactive to a proactive project management. It is going to be the enabler for you and your helper to be on this particular journey. The success will be measured with your people, your processes, and your projects all aligned to the strategic objective that you are trying to deliver. So the important thing here is to understand that start small, learn continuously, and scale progressively. So that's all that I wanted to talk about today. I will now be looking into the questions. Thank you so much for being with me here for the entire session. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Rashmi, for your wonderful session. Was very informative, and I'm really excited to know what AI can be used in our organization. But there are lots of questions, so we will move on to questions. We have 14 to 15 questions to be answered. So I will start from the chat box, and we have 5 questions in the Q&A chat box also. So we will start from the chat box because there are lots of messages are coming up, and then it can be like missed out. So
Okay.
first question is from Suhail Ahmad. He's asking, I think this software mostly used for IT projects. What AI tools useful for construction project?
Uh, So it's not only IT, it is across domain. Uh, Celoxis that I have been showcasing is a tool that's been used across different domains, right from construction. And I understand construction projects work a lot differently. That's because you have resources across in the fields who are working, how the information is collected, the processes that's being managed. So there are tools in place which have this ability. Celoxis is one of the tool that has a lot of construction clients, and AI can be used to get the information in real time.
Okay. Next question is from Parshuram. He's asking, what are the key metrics we have to track to determine health of an overall project and project scope in particular?
So different type of projects would have different metrics, but typically you would see whether the project is on schedule, whether it is on budget, what are the risks. So every risk will have a rating. So based on which risks need your attention is what something you would want to have visibility to. So the earlier dashboard that we looked at, I have that quickly, will give you the necessary visibility. So whether it is kind of looking at the risks, um, just give me a minute. So basically, this report will give you the visibility to kind of track those different metrics. And the tool that allows you to define your own metrics is going to be helpful. So you can see the risks, you can see whether things are on track, off track, all of that on a single dashboard. I'll be more than happy to take up questions. Feel free to, drop me a message on LinkedIn and I'll try my best to answer.
Yes, I have shared your LinkedIn profile in the chat box. So we will move on to next question. This is Raghuveer Kamath. He's asking for surveillance projects. Is there any tool to monitor progress other than MS Project? The tool should be easy to use and update and live progress captured. Field engineers should be able to enter data.
Yeah. A lot of tool actually allows you to do that, but what is important, like I mentioned earlier, is to identify pain points of each of those users. Now when your resources are on the field, basically get having a tool that gives you mobile access so that they can quickly capture those photographs, because most of the times you have to get the proofs of what the work is done. So a tool that has the mobile app, you can quickly put in the progress updates from that view, is going to be helpful. So there are tools. Celoxis is one of the tool that allows you to do that.
Next question is from Parsuram. He is asking key metrics to monitor AI adoption by your team.
That's a good question. Basically, first you have to track usage. You have to see what information the information that AI is generating for you, is that being worked upon? Are you seeing improvements in the way your resources are actually consuming that data? For example, if your project managers are looking at, show me things which need my attention. So the list of tasks are being shown. So well in advance, you're knowing that these tasks are going to probably be an issue. So are you taking corrective actions? Are compared to the last week, do you have lesser number of tasks which are at risk this particular week? Are a few things that you can monitor. So it's the efficiency that improves.
Okay. Next question is from Vignesh. He's asking which are the popular AI tools for agile project management?
I can drop a message. I'm not very sure because I need to understand what your use cases are also. If you can just drop me a message, I can revert back on that.
Okay. Next question is from Suhail Ahmed. He's asking, I'm working as a planning engineer in my organization. I want to implement that, but without inputs, it's hard to develop due to can't access cost details. So how to approach with my management to follow these AI tools?
You can we can book a call with your manager in case that's an approach we can take, so that we understand what are the hurdles because of which you're not looking forward to. And what you can do internally is basically there are a lot of YouTube videos that you can showcasing how a tool can benefit an organization. So that gives a good understanding of the success stories that organizations have achieved, making your managers think about it.
Next question is from Raghuveer Kamath. He's asking, can your presentation slides be available for study and implementation in surveillance projects?
I can definitely share those slides.
And just remember this YouTube recording of this session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel also. So if you can refer again, you can just access from there also. So
Wonderful.
Yeah. Next question is from Ravindra Rani. He's asking, can you please suggest AI project management tool for number one, telecom network deployment, and the second one is e-surveillance deployment project.
Um, Specific to this domain, I wouldn't know, because finally it's how you put information in the tool that an AI will fetch back for you. So there aren't any AI tools specific to your industry, but like again, I keep an example of Celoxis. So if how you put information in a tool, the AI can give you those results.
Next question is from Raghuveer Kamath. He's asking, I, Raghuveer Kamath, am PMO head, want support from your organization. So he has mentioned his cell number. He handles government surveillance projects. So Raghuveer, you can, as Rashmi told, you can connect with her on her LinkedIn profile, and her LinkedIn profile has been shared in the chat box and in the flyers also. So you can ask questions accordingly. Next question is from Vimal Nair. He's asking, most organizations are concerned about data security and data privacy issues when it comes to adopting SaaS tools, especially when you are exposing all your critical sensitive organization data, which includes commercials, budgets, future confidential projects to AI models, especially when this is implemented for banks and telecoms having stringent security guidelines. How can this be addressed and get the buy in from management assuring data confidentiality and sensitivity?
That's a very valid question, actually. With the so many regulations coming into picture these days, every country having their own regulations, that is one of the very major questions that every organization would have. Uh, so there are two parts to it. Look at the deployment. If it's SaaS and on-premise being the two major forms of deployment. With on-premise, you can host the application, the software on your premises so that you entirely can build the infrastructure and the security measures you want to put in place. With a SaaS deployment, look for a tool who is, ISO certified, has SOC 2 compliant, look at that they are SSL enabled and all of that. Basically, they are hosted on a platform that gives you a surety that your data is safe. AWS server, for example, is one of the secure hosting sites. US military uses that, NASA uses that. So that's one thing to look forward to. And in talking specifically about Celoxis, we are hosted on the AWS servers, and NASA, US military, all of these are different customers that you can see are using it. So when you're looking for a tool, there always be a dedicated page for the security to talk about what measures that organization or that platform is taking to address your security concerns. So have a look at that. If you see all of this certifications, all of the measures being listed, that is the organization or that is the tool that you should look forward to.
Yes. Next is from Vimal Nair. He is asking, following to my above question, can such tools be implemented on prem for large organization who would wish to have it on their own infra or private cloud?
Yes, you can move for the on-premise deployment. Very few tools offer that, but on-premise is definitely an option.
Okay. Next, I think we finished off this question, and there are lots of compliments now in this the in the chat box. I will answer question. I will start from the yeah. There is one latest question from Suruchi Ranjan. What are the best tool used for forecasting the moving average?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but in terms of forecasting, it is important to understand the quality of the data that goes in is going to form the basis of the data that will form your forecast. So that's important to understand.
Okay, so we will move on to question and answer area where we have some seven questions. So I will start from the first one. Uh, First question is from Saurabh Mukadam. He is asking, can this tool help to identify the program risks?
Yes, it definitely can. In fact, the AI part of the tool can also predict those risks. You can draw charts as we looked at earlier.
Okay, next question is from Rupali Srinivasan. She's asking, can you list down the AI tools which is working best for your industry?
Uh, there are, that depends on the data that you're looking at. Celox is the tool I've been showcasing over here today. is has the best ability to kind of work with your projects, with AI being the tool that sits on your project management platform, giving you the real time insights.
Next question is from Mrinmoy Datta. He's asking, is this tool an independent tool where all the information needs to be fed manually, or it can be integrated with other PM tools like Jira, Mural, or data can be extracted from Jira, Mural, etc.?
That's a very good question. Yes, basically the tool that I have been showcasing has an open API that allows you to fed information through different sources. Besides that, there are integration with Jira, with Azure DevOps, so that you can get information automatically into the system. That's another
Uh,
thing to look for when you're looking at a tool.
Next question is from Suhasini Niyogi. She's asking, is the AI tool you are describing bundled with the ERP system?
It's bundled with the project management software.
Okay. Next question is from Dinesh Achari. He's asking, it would be hard for me to move any project management tool from Jira to Celoxis. Can I use this as a abstraction layer over my Jira?
Yes, there are a lot of our customers who kind of work the similar way, because a lot of IT industry use Jira, but Jira lacks a lot of things that a project management tool can offer. So that's why we have a first class plugin, a first class feature that allows you to integrate Jira with Celoxis, so that your users work in Jira, but in Celoxis you get all of that information to do that reporting and the real time dashboards that PMO needs insights to.
Okay. Next question is from Padma Iyer. She's asking, where is all this project data being housed? Will it be through this AI-based PM support software or within the organization system servers? In case the organization decides to move away from one type of AI platform to another, then how will all this data be transformed from one provider like Celoxix, for example, to another?
So basically, the data is host, or the data would be available on the SaaS platform that you would use. So in case of Celoxis, if you're going with the SaaS model, it will be on our servers where all the information is stored. If you need to move from one tool to other, you will have to download all of that information to PDFs, Excel sheets, so that you can import it to other tool. And most of the tools that you would see allow you to do it in the similar way.
Okay, next question is from Srinivas Vani. He's asking how AI is used in this tool. I joined late, so not sure if I missed starting point.
AI in Celoxis is basically used to kind of, look at your projects, ask questions about your projects, information, the metadata, draw charts, do the predictive analysis, help you with resource management, um, stack or rather, draw charts and staff your resources so you can better manage your resources. And we've captured that this call is being recorded. When you get a chance, do look at the starting point, or if you go to Celoxa, there are a lot of AI webinars and recordings that are available.
Yes. Next question is from Ganesh Modi. He's asking, I could see that resource allocation single source of truth captured correctly. In manufacturing, there are shared resources. The allocation to projects is very vague. How would you believe availability data?
So availability is coming from the work calendars that you have associated with your users. So if you go to the admin screen, maybe I'll just look over here. Just too many tabs open. So basically, availability is captured through work calendars where you are looking at how resources hours are in the system. Now, when you allocate resources on their projects or tasks, because that's what eventually a project manager will have to do. So they are allocating the resources on their task based on how they need the resource. And all of this will then automatically roll up at your workload view across the projects to give you the true visibility. So that's how you get a good picture using these dashboards to understand how busy your resources are. Are they over allocated? If they are over allocated, you can drill down right over here to see what projects and what tasks they are getting over allocated. So it always gives you a true picture of that.
Okay, next question is from Rajendra Bhatt. He's asking, could Copilot Chat GPT embedded with Excel act as a PM dashboard, bringing efficiency in project managers' work?
Definitely. It does, so it's like, an enhancement that you are building into your Excel sheet, but it's still going to be manual effort. And one small change someone incorrectly doing will set you back in long time. So while it is definitely an improvement over traditional manual Excel sheets, you can still do that. But in a longer run, definitely look for a tool that helps you kind of, get the big picture, because it's not independent individual Excel sheets. It's the total big picture that helps organization in their digital transformation journey.
Okay. Next question is from Ganesh Modi again. He is asking, does it extract data from SAP for status on my procurement process?
So you will have to use APIs to be able to do that. But yes, you will be able to do.
Next question is from Samir Bhatnagar. He is asking, quality of the data is a big concern in most of the organization, and AI usefulness depends on this. How to address this?
What goes in is what comes out. So setting up fixed processes to be able to manage the quality of your data is going to be important. Using workflows, using standard processes to do that, you are basically having structured way of how this information is going to be captured. So AI will be useful looking at how is the data being captured, and that you do using the processes.
Next question is from Tushar Jamborkar. He is asking, can AI integrate with Econex and can it identify the pending document is from critical path, and will it delay the project if not attended immediately?
The tool I'm showing you specifically at the moment doesn't have the ability to look at other tools. It does all that information from the data in the tool itself. But maybe using API or maybe a tool called Zapier that allows you to do integration might do that. But we'll have to relook into this.
Next question is from Sandhya. She is asking, once digital transformation is implemented, half, after how much period or years does the organization starts to see the benefits of the transformation done?
That is a good question. Basically, it is not, you don't have to wait long years and months to see that. It is small wins that you will see right from 2 3 weeks to a entire year time, where everything is then being managed automatically, or probably exactly everyone knows what is their role in that transformation journey. So one, obviously your efforts are reduced doing the reports. You see a lot of happy resources who know exactly what they're supposed to be working. The project manager is stress free because he doesn't have to talk to each and every resource and get the percentage done of their particular task. So it could start with a small win from your individual resources, all kind of rolling up to the top level.
Yeah, in my organization, it took like 7 8 months to implement this transformation. So next question is from Sundar Mahalingam. He is asking, are you share the cost model for this tool?
If you go to our website, actually, you will see this. But that will give you a good idea. In case you have additional questions, drop me a message on LinkedIn.
Okay, that's it. I there are 2 3 questions more. Again, one Sandhya is acha, this is the same question. Yeah, Suruchi Ranjan is asking the same question. Yeah, Suruchi Ranjan is asking, what are the best tool used for forecasting the moving average, like weather forecast?
Which tools are available? There are quite a few tools. Again, it all depends on the data. Uh, Tools which, let me give you an example. Let's log in as some user. So forecast could be your, based on your financials. It could be based on the things of how your projects are progressing. So let me show you a revenue dashboard here where you can see the forecast of the revenue that's coming in for the different projects that you're doing with your clients. So tools, when you put in your projects, you set in the timeline, you set up all the information required, your dashboards will show you all of these predictions in real time.
Okay, Srinivas Vani is again asking, any free plan to explore?
There's a trial account that is available for 14 days for exploring the tool.
And Sundar Mahalingam is asking, is demo version of this tool available?
Yeah, the trial version. So if you go to our website, you can click on the page where you can start a trial. Sorry, I'll come back to this. you can start a free trial.
Okay. Next question is from Suhail Ahmed. He's asking, Celoxis is providing training or certificate?
Uh, you mean training for the organize? I'm not sure if you're asking for the organization, if you go ahead with the tool, or for yourself. If you're looking for an individual contribution where you want to kind of, uh, s- see how Celoxes work, please reach out to us and we can arrange that separately.
I think that is the questions now. We have read all the questions from the chat box. There is one more question coming from Jayanta Datta. He's asking, how about NetSuite? Can it used as a project management tool, or it just a database and for data management?
NetSuite is not really a project management tool, if I understand this correctly, but I'm not day in, day out work with NetSuite because we've helped customers integrate NetSuite with Celoxis because some part of the project is managed there, not the whole end-to-end project management. So as far as I know, I don't think it's a project management software.
So that's it. I think we have finished all the questions. And as I discussed with you, there will be a last question from my end. It is just a very general question. And it is like, can digital transformation is only restricted to processes, or it can be applied to products too?
Yeah, it definitely can be applied to project too. It's so the scope is huge. It is not only to projects or product. It could be resources. It could be basically the information that helps you kind of drive your project towards the success that every organization is trying to achieve. And with the global market, with uh, the race that we are all with achieving the project success, I think AI is the true enabler that helps you achieve success. See all of that in real time. So it's not restricted to something, it's across all the domains.
Okay. Thank you for that. And one more question has come from Ganesh Modi. He's asking, as you said, data, process, and workflow are key to success of transformation. Do you provide help in that aspect as well?
Yes, definitely. So how you input data, how you set up the processes. So these are questions that, when you're looking at a tool, you should ask or you should be asked so that all if it gives you a good picture of whether those things are going to be achievable or not. So yes, we do also help with that because finally that has to be implemented for your success story to be built.
That's it. And thank you so much, Rashmi, for your wonderful session and very interesting session. I'm really impressed by the AI, how that they can help to answer any question. But right now, I don't think so. We have AI installed in our digital transformation dashboards. So I'm really looking forward to it. And thank you for your wonderful session. As a small token of thanks, I want to share a certificate of appreciation from our end, and please accept it to present today's PM Forum session, and looking forward to invite you for presenting other interesting topics too in the near future. So I'll
Definitely.
just share the certificate.
Thank you so much. It's really great to be, given a chance to speak over here.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
So please accept a certificate of appreciation from our end as a small token of thanks for accepting our invitation to present today's PM Forum session. And for the attendees who have joined, feed form link will be shared in the chat box. And please note down, two PDUs will get credited automatically in your account for attending today's session. And recording of this session will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, PMI Mumbai chapter. So you can refer from there, and any questions you can connect with Rashmi through her LinkedIn profile, which has been shared in the chat box, and through during the flyers also. So that's it from my end, and meet you next in next session soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye bye.